We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite. This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television Star Times Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, and UHF Channel 38.
Good afternoon and welcome to the afternoon edition. My name is Issa Nu. Today we are going to be looking at more details with regard to the issues happening in Kogi State. Before now, you've heard of the flooding that has caused so much problem within the other parts, most especially places like Anambra, Jigawa, Kebbi State, and some other states that are affected. Nasarawa State is also included. But then, as a result of that flooding, there are so many issues that comes with it. The issue of the scarcity of fuel, which has been relieved for some time now in Abuja. And then we also look at the issue between the state government of Kogi State and that of the Obajana Cement Company. Before now, you've heard of the rancor between the state governor and then the cement company, and then the issues that are related to it. And then also, you've heard that the State House of Assembly got burnt just a few days back. These are the major issues. I would like to know more about the happenings in Kogi State. So we'll go on a very short break. But before we go on that break, in the studio here is a special advisor to the governor on public relations in person of Ambassador Umar Ahmed Bolori. He is here to give us more with regards to issues that borders Kogi State. So give me...
Sir, can you please give us the permission to search you? You can go.
Is this a movie? If it happened...
Officer, I beg carry and go station. When our Oga come, you come meet her for there.
Hey, Mr. Man, I cannot do that.
Tell your guy to come to our station when he returns.
Am I in a movie? If it happen,
Mama, please. Mama, please.
Thank God you're here. Do the needful.
Mama, please, just 3 weeks
Madam,
now.
why did you invite us to come help chase your tenant now?
This is a civil matter now.
Is this a movie? If it happen,
If we follow...
The new police law.
Welcome back from that short break. Ambassador, good afternoon and welcome to the program, the afternoon edition.
Afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's nice having you today because we are having, for some time now, you've heard of Kogi State, always been in the news. It started with the happening of the flooding, and then later on the issue of the Obajana Cement Company, and then that of also the State House of Assembly being burnt. So now, what can you tell us in specific with the implications or the impact of the flooding in Kogi State?
The flooding has hugely affected not only Kogi State, but the entire Nigeria's economy. Kogi State is a state that is strategically positioned almost at the center of the country. And it connects the north to the south of Nigeria and also vice versa, the south to the north. In addition to this, we are bordering 10 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. This has made us to be a very strategic place. The flooding, which is, coming from the river Niger, has affected not only Kogi. In your introduction, you have said it has affected other states that are also hosting the river Niger. This has been ongoing for a couple of days now, and if you go there, you would see the river Niger, the flooding, the water has now come up to the main road, to the extent that even vehicular movements, are to some extent restricted by the flood. This has created such a huge hardship, like I've said, on the economy of the country, because many things would have to come in from the south and others have to go out. And of course, one of them is the fuel scarcity right now, affecting most importantly Abuja, and of course other commodities going to the south like foodstuff and the rest. As you have known, this has been an ongoing issue. It has actually happened in 2012. Well, of course, the 2012 flooding effect is not as much as the one we are experiencing right now. But glory be to God, the water is now going back. And with the effort of the federal and the state governments, the affected families, the state government has designated IDP camps for the internally displaced people that are displaced by the flood, because many houses have been consumed by the flood, because some people have built houses on the waterways, and even those whose houses are not on the waterways, actually, because the river itself need dredging, because it hasn't been dredged for so many years. And of course, probably this will inform the need to also pave the waterways to get it through to other northern states, and of course in the southern part to some other states that have proximity to the river Niger. Well, right now, some of the efforts we have made has to do with establishment of IDP camps and giving them food and non-food items to support them, which of course the federal government through the National Emergency Management Agency has also been of help, and the state government has tremendously done a lot through the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA. And then what we have done is not only to make distributions, but of course to also sensitize the populace on the effects of flooding and how best to prevent it. Which of course, even before now, earlier this year, His Excellency Governor Yahaya Bello has graciously, foreseen that this effect of flooding could possibly bring a lot of effect. And to that effect, a few months ago, even before the rainy season, we have built embankment, on the bridge, on the entrance of Lokoja, and that has really helped. It has helped in reducing the effect, but notwithstanding, because this year's flooding is something that is unprecedented, and the effect, of course, has really affected a lot of people, and right now things are getting back to normalcy.
Okay, people have argued that till this moment, the only bridge, the major bridge that is being known, that's the Murtala Bridge across the Niger. There is the major bridge that people use to access other parts of the country, either going to the south or coming down to the north. Do you see the possibility of the government raising more issues with regards to building an alternative pathway in order to reduce the pain that comes with this issue of flooding?
When you say government, you leave me lost. Are you talking about the
Both
state or the federal
state
government?
And the federal government, yeah.
Of course, it will be the wish of the state government to have more roads connecting. But mind you, that is a federal road. With the constraint of funds right now, the state is very much, occupied by mending and even building, local roads, which of course, Kogi State being over 30 years right now, I have not personally, not been from Kogi, but having visited in the past and having the picture of what actually has happened. Of course, our 6 years now in office has really been a great blessing of over, I think, over 29,000 square kilometers, with so many people of population of getting to over 5 million people. We have done so much to bridge, the gaps left by the previous administrations in trying to create some interconnectivities. And this is really consuming lots of resources and lots of time. In fact, that is our primary responsibility. We have to deal with that before crossing into the boundaries of the federal government. But His Excellency is very much in touch, and he's been advocating at the federal level to see how all of these things will be put in place. But I believe with what has happened now, everybody has now felt the spatial location of Kogi State and how critical it is to Nigeria's economy, not only in relation to the over 40 mineral resources deposited in the land, but also, of course, because of the connection, the interconnectivity, and the critical stake Kogi is really playing. We hope that very soon such would happen. But like I have said, talking about the internal roads, this is the very first time ever in the history of Kogi State that a government within the shortest possible time will go into all the 21 local governments to build road infrastructures and all that. So but that then, will complement in a way.
But okay, well, you say it will complement in a way. But then, if you look at that, people have also argued that before now, this is not the first time the flooding is affecting Kogi State. And still, those buildings you still have at the floodplain are still there. Despite the fact that, yes, the water level increased, unlike what used to happen in the past. Has there been any major role the government have played in order to make sure that people don't build their houses along the floodplain?
Like I have said, His Excellency Governor Yahya Bello has foreseen this. Even before now, I have said earlier this year, I can't exactly recall the month, we went there, and then on his own, he thought that it will be very important to build the embankment, like I have said, which of course has reduced drastically the effect of the flooding. And
well, not only that, we found houses there.
Not, of course, okay. The flooding, this is something not affecting Kogi alone. This is something unforeseen, unprecedented. In fact, it has actually superseded what has happened even in 2012. This is a natural disaster that His Excellency has thought ahead of time to build the embankment. And not only this, mind you, when we went there, we went even under the bridge. We took the risk. We went there, under there with His Excellency, to talk to the people, sensitize them by himself. We went, and there has been also a lot of policies coming up on land use and the rest of the things, you see. Dealing with people sometimes requires, government process. We are not in a military junta era. So there are lots of efforts and procedures that has to be followed. And of course, this has been what we've been doing for quite a while. So building the embankment itself is an indication that the state government is doing its best, and the state government is very much interested in this area.
Okay, now let us quickly move on to the other issue I was raising before the program. The issue between your state governor, in person of Governor Yahya Bello, and Dangote group of companies. So now, there has been this issue of Obajana Cement. What can you tell us? The public have to know more about the nitty-gritty between the government and that of Obajana Cement.
I'm glad that you are referring to it by its original name, Obajana Cement, of course, Obajana Cement. Obajana Cement was registered by Kogi State government. It's owned by Kogi State government. Mind you, not was owned. It's owned by Kogi State government and was registered as a company and established on the 4th, I believe, of November 1992 by the then brief government of Prince Abubakar Audu. I think that, I believe, is the Fourth Republic. After that, 10 years after, and that registration has to do with the licensing for mining of the materials needed for the cement, and every other necessary documentations. Everything has been in place, including the CFO of the ownership of the place, and everything one would require to run a cement company. Everything is owned by Kogi State government as a company. In 2002, in the spirit of national privatization program, which of course the Obasanjo administration embarked on at that time, in that same spirit, and also in connection, in a way, to the efforts of the then government to attract investors, to be able to forge, let's say, public-private partnership of a sort. The then Dangote Industry Limited, DIL, as the company used to be known back then, met with the state government in 2002 and reached to a certain, beginning procedure of an agreement, and which, of course, one of the documents that has been signed dates, I think, 30th of July of 2002, and that is one part of the preliminary agreement. And it's everywhere. The release is everywhere right now, and I have the papers I can forward to you of the preliminary part of the agreement that Dangote Industry Limited is going to take 90% of the stake of Obajana Company, and then 10% would be, left with the state government. That being said, it is also part of the agreement of the document. It's not the document I shared with you, it's another document I'll share with you. That in place also in the agreement that is in the public domain right now says 10% will be owned by state government, and of that 10%, it is even clearly stated in the agreement that the state government can only do away with 5% of that 10. And for an agreement to happen, both of us may not be legal practitioners, but we know and we understand as learned people that there must be a consideration in any contract. And there is no evidence of any payment of consideration by the Dangote Industry Limited to even have that 90% stake. And if at all there has been any of such consideration, of which the evidence is what the State Assembly in Kogi is challenging the Dangote Industry Limited to provide, that how much have you paid, if at all you have paid any consideration fee, and where is the evidence of that payment to even be able to have control over the 90%. And of course, if at all that has happened, have you ever paid the 10%? Where is the 10%? Who have you been paying the 10% that belongs to the state government to? And many questions. And I believe sometime in 2010 or 11, I do not know the precise date, but one of the two, the Dangote Industry Limited actually even changed the name. And
you have evidence to that?
Absolutely, it's all part of the search. And this is something you can even do at the comfort of your office right now, to even search on the Corporate Affairs Commission website and look at some of the changes. And we have freedom of information. You can reach out to find out that. And of course, people that know history know that the company, even you, while seated here, you refer to it as Obajana Cement Limited, which of course right now on the sacks and bags of the cement, you will see Dangote Cement, PLC. The name got changed, and initially on the board, there has been at least 6 or so commissioners of Kogi State government, the Attorney General, and some key people that were actually part of the company management. They were not dropped up until that moment. when they were dropped and the entire thing changed, and there is no evidence of payment of 10%.
But then if you say that you have some of them being part of the board and then they were not dropped until at a particular point, invariably, does that suggest that some certain persons have been collecting money for the Kogi? Because if they are part of the board, it
is
means
the
probably.
evidence?
But you just mentioned.
I'm talking about name. If you are making any payment,
Yes.
look, this is government. It's not about having people on the list and because they are here, you collect their savings or current account.
Are they not board members of?
Yes. The payment is to be made to the state government treasury. And all these arrangements have been prepared. But there is no evidence of such payment of the 10%. There is no even evidence to begin with of, the acquisition of the 90%. There must be a consideration that would have to be paid for any contract to be validated. And many, many, many more problems. You see, all these things coming together actually, ignite the Kogi indigenous conscience to begin to ask questions, and lots of petitions have been written to the state government. And of course, it was part of the initial, efforts of Governor Yahya Bello administration when he took over power in 2016.
Okay, we'll talk more.
Get to that.
We'll talk more about that, because this is a major issue that many Nigerians seem to be more concerned. Because at this point, where every state seems to be looking for foreign direct investment into their states, and then we're having issues between the state government and then the company, that's the Obajana company. Definitely, it is a major issue that Nigerians want to see that it is well settled between the two parties. But before we continue with that, I will go on a very short break, and when we return, we continue with the conversation with Ambassador Ahmed Bolori on the Kogi State issues.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite. This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television Star Times Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, and UHF Channel 38.
Welcome back, and still with me in the studio is Ambassador Umar Ahmed Bolori, the Special Advisor to the Governor of Kogi State on Public Relations. So we are still discussing the issue of Kogi State, and as you know, Kogi State has been on the front burner for some time now because of the activities that are ongoing in that particular state. And we've discussed a major issue that has to do with the flooding, and for those of you who reside here in Abuja, you must have noticed that the filling stations have been having challenges with fuel. And that was as a result of the flood. But now we are now seeing is across some of the filling stations. And then still the issue of the cement company in Kogi State has been a major issue. And let me quickly take you on some of the recommendations made during the course of the presentation by the governor. that Kogi State government should take steps to recover Obajana Cement Company PLC, now changed to Dangote Cement Company, situated in Obajana, Kogi State. And the second one is Kogi State government should take steps to recover all accrued dividends from profit made over the years, including accrued interest on same. Before I go to the third one, let me ask you this. Now, the company has been working for some time, almost 20 years plus, if I'm not mistaken. And do you see the possibility of your governor, the governor of Kogi State, getting all the money that was not paid to the state government coffers?
This is the effort we're making. And it is our belief that the system will work in the favor of the truth. And if you observe, every single step taken by the Governor Yahya Bello administration has been legitimate. And
you said legitimate, but it didn't go through the court proceedings.
I'm coming.
Okay.
You need to understand the system.
Okay.
That's why we have the State Assembly. You have to even make a case before even getting to the court. You don't rubbishly go to the court. The Yahya Bello administration is full of people who know what they are doing. There has been about 3 committees and efforts. There has been a commission of inquiry. The initial committee, I believe, was headed by retired Justice Wada and some critical stakeholders. What was their recommendation? The same recommendation of recovery, and that the entire thing, does not stand. It's null and void. The second one also that took place, the same thing. The third one, the second one, which is also the effort of the State Assembly. The State Assembly have the powers. They have the powers to look into these matters. Now they have even discovered that from the beginning up to this level, even in 2002, the State Assembly does not have any record of participating in this entire process. And this is a critical state asset, that the State Assembly must be involved in the process. They do not have any records. They are not aware of such transactions. They did not approve at that time. When I say they, I'm talking about the system or the institution as the State Assembly, not the individuals now. They have gone through their records. They have records. Nothing of such.
So could that be the fault of the government?
They ruled. After even hearing from Dangote, they invited Dangote Company. Initially, the Dangote Company have been trying to avoid the meetings, which patiently the State Assembly pushed and pushed, and eventually they came. They came, they spoke, although I was not there, but the outcome is everywhere, that they admitted in a way that yes, the 10% is unclaimed. And some coppers are also saying that they even requested for an off-camera engagement in the assembly, which the State Assembly declined. You see, so all of these things have happened. And then the final one, this committee now, that was also put in place, headed by the Secretary to State Government, Dr. Mrs. Fola Shade Arike, and also having memberships, across all critical, fields, having the State Accountant General, State Auditor General, I think the Nigerian Bar Association. So just a composition of critical people. Yes. And what is that recommendation? The recommendation is that the entire thing does not stand. It's void. There is no such agreement because, they have critically gone into it. Initially, Dangote Company were even given reasons to the State Assembly that the man who has the custody of this or who is responsible to give explanation has traveled to Tanzania and the rest. We patiently waited.
But then now that the company is closed up, what about, how will the state government run the company? If it closes it, nobody's making good use of it, the efficiency has been reduced to zero, the communities surrounding that particular area are affected.
You mean how? After the state government might have...
because I'm aware that it is
after
closed.
we have taken back what is
Yes.
ours?
Not well. That will be determined by the court if it is
Yes.
truly yours or not. But now I believe that the Obajana cement company is closed down.
Yes.
And as a result of that, no activity
Yeah.
is ongoing.
Okay.
And don't you think this will affect even the community that are benefiting from this cement company?
What the government is trying to do is for the maximum benefit of the people, of the community especially. The maximum benefit. These are communities that are even affected by the effects of the pollution coming out of these companies. Not just, we're talking about this Obajana cement thing, we're not just talking about Obajana community alone. So talking about places like Angpa, the Kina, and the rest, where the Dangote people source for their coal to power the stations. The effects are there. Most of the people in these communities have one respiratory problem or the other, courtesy of the effects of this. And these are same people that have been petitioning the entire process. And by the time we do this, just assume something. I have not digged into how much Dangote has made in Obajana cement. But I have seen some online figures, about 5 or 7 trillion naira, for instance. I'm just trying to give a hypothesis. Assuming we have gotten the 10% of that, if it is 7 billion, it would have been around 700 billion naira coming back to these same communities. You understand? The maximum benefit of the people. So all these efforts, and the Yahya Bello administration, you see, His Excellency is living exactly on the 16th of January 2024. He is living. And this has been the effort he has been making. It has been part of his plans, even before emerging as governor, to make Kogi State, financially independent, to be able to get funds. Right now, we have a lot of constraints. Our workforce is a lot. Even the local government workforce is almost about 100,000 people. The state workforce and the rest. Our salaries, sometimes when our allocations come, cannot even meet up to pay our salaries.
And that's why there is an industry there that also helps to reduce some of the stress.
That is why we have this industry, and we must take back the industry according to the law. Because these are the recommendations. One of the committees I have said was even headed by a retired judge. The other is by the state assembly that have the power. Mind you, it wasn't the executive that ordered for even the closure of the company. It was a ruling by the state assembly. That
I can read that here.
This happening, of course, you have the papers here. The state assembly that has been burnt now. So
we are coming to that because the reason why this issue is being discussed is because of the fear of other states who seem not to have industries the way Kogi State have. You have so much mineral resources, and if issues like this are coming up at this critical time, some industries that also want to have maybe a branch or want to also start doing one or two business with the government will definitely be scared off with these activities that is going on now, mostly between the governor and that of the government of Kogi State and that of Dangote Cement.
That's not true, unless they are fraudulent or corrupt companies or investors that want to come. We are not even welcoming such people. This is a government that is trying to make things right, going by what has been done evidently on paper. You know, we are not in a state of anarchy. This is a state that is digging into matters and is a state that is following the right channels to do things. This is not something that the governor or the state assembly just wake up overnight and say close down this place. No. Go and look at the statements we have issued. Consistently, the question has been, where is your evidence, Dangote Industry Limited? I wish to refer to them as that because that is what the preliminary agreement has as their name, or Dangote Group now. Where is your evidence that this is yours now? Where is your evidence? Why did you remove the directors? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Where are the evidences? How much have you paid? How did you acquire this place? If our investors are rushed to any state like this, because this will give me guarantee that in the future my investments will be protected according to the law. The same Dangote is now running business in Tanzania and in many other countries. He's following the laws and orders of these places. Nothing is going wrong. But this place, we are here, we are not saying we don't want, no. In fact, as a matter of fact, the government of the Yahya Bello administration, shares, this sense of pleasure that Dangote is an entrepreneur, is an investor, is a captain of industry that has employed so many people and is adding to the economy of Nigeria in a way. He has his ups and downs. That is not something to dig into. We're proud of him. But things must be done according to the laws of the land. The people must be given what belongs to them.
Why is this cry coming out now?
I have told you, this has been ongoing since 2016. His Excellency got into action of this, I think, about 6 months after taking over power. So and like I have said, committees after committees, digging after digging. You know who you're dealing with? You're dealing with a big company of this nature. You get the point. These are people that can use the law, here and there, get lawyers here and there to manipulate things. You have to be very sure and you have to follow the right channel.
There was an issue on that day of the closure that vigilantes were used to close the company, and as a result of that, some people got injured, some of the workers were injured, and the rest of it. And there was rancor on that particular day. How can you defend issues like this?
You believe that?
I'm asking you, that's why you're here.
Do you believe that?
You have to clarify.
But this is not a question. You're talking about, look, you're not talking about a voluntary organization. This is a state government. You don't get to that. The statements coming on, it was an issue.
It was an issue.
24, is it 27? The cooked number of alleged, people.
Well, you said, you said
been wounded. That's the statement that came out from the Dangote group. That people, see, we're not lawless people. We have a system. We follow the book. And we go by the book. That is why the State Assembly is making their effort, the state government having committees and the rest. If we were going to resort to that violence or whatever, we would have done since. But because we're a system, government is not a private entity. Government is government and is institution that is even bigger than His Excellency Governor Yahya Bello himself. This is a system. We're going by the books. These people said we've wounded or injured, I don't know the word they use, about 24 or 27 people, and they are hospitalized. Where? The evidence. These are all things, matters being brought up to divert people's attention.
Okay, let us.
The argument has been, where is your evidence?
So I hope they provide that. But then let us quickly move to a very important issue before we round up the program. The State House of Assembly was engulfed. That was last week.
Sadly, yes.
And so many issues were also raised. What can you say with regards to, has there been any major investigation, and what are probably the findings?
Absolutely. Investigation is ongoing. The cause of the fire is unknown. Like I have said, government is beyond any individual, and government is a system that goes by the book. And the matter is being investigated into with all the resources at the disposal of the government. And the government is liaising with all relevant federal agencies also to investigate the matter as to what really caused the fire. Of course, rumors going on here and there, which the state government would not like to join matters with rumors. Some are suspecting that Dangote group, because they've been investigated by the State Assembly, because they have been taped, with camera in the State Assembly.
Do you accept those rumors? Do you accept them?
If I accept them, I wouldn't call them rumors. These are all rumors that we do not either confirm or otherwise accept, because we are a lawful institution. We await the outcome of the investigation. Nobody would come out to say all of the, although it's a world of possibilities, but we don't want to join matters like this with anybody. That is why we're a government institution. That is why we wouldn't be like some people coming out to just cook up and say 27 or 24 people have been injured and hospitalized. We are government, and His Excellency, with all the other arms of government in the state, have been giving their best to ensure that the investigation comes out. But mind you, His Excellency has given the assurance that whoever that is found guilty of this must be taken care of by the laws.
Okay.
By the provisions
I was thinking because
Yes.
when you say must be taken care of,
By the
I thank
laws,
God
of
you
course.
completed it.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Ambassador Ahmed Umar Boleri, for joining us this afternoon on the afternoon edition. And it's nice that you've given us heads up with regards to all that is happening in Kogi State, because we are more concerned, most especially the issue of the flooding that really ravaged communities within the state. And thank you for giving us explicitly all we need to know about the happenings in Kogi State. This is how far we can go on the program, The Roundtable. My name is Isanu. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.